the discussions that we had and decisions we made in the cabinet today. The first was the report of the MPSC Reforms Committee. As you're aware that we had put up a committee to look into the important reforms that can be done in MPSC to improve the overall efficiency, the overall productivity, and most importantly, the overall transparency of the recruitment process in MPSC. This committee was headed by our Principal Secretary, Frederick Kakongar, and other members in the committee included our Commissioner Secretary, Mr. Cyril Dingdo, Shri David Samla, and Mr. L.K. Dingdo, who was the member secretary. The committee had submitted its report, and we have accepted the report in total in the cabinet today. And we will be making this report public so that everybody can see the contents of the report. I'll just, for this brief information of the press and the public at large, I'll just share a few of them. There are too many of them for me to go through all. But broadly, there was a short-term and there were long-term measures. So short-term measures included options of having multiple boards so that interviews can be done at a faster pace, setting up of interview protocols of how interviews, in what process and system it should be conducted, proposals like recuse from interview process in case any of the member has a family member who's been interviewed, so the person can recuse him or herself, ensuring that we are able to have declaration of assets and liabilities, including the chairman and members of the committee, annual calendar of the MPSC, preparation of annual reports by the commission, creation of a grievance cell, the roll numbers of candidates not to be changed in between the recruitment process, notification of marks for personal interview, the ratio of the candidates to number of vacancies be publicized, obviously question papers to be highly confidential to avoid any leakage, and the procedure for that also has been explained. No changes to be made in recruitment process once the process has started. Public disclosure of marks secured by candidates in any examination, other tests and personal interviews for any post conducted by the Commission. Release of answer keys after examination and specific time frame to be given for challenging the answer key, and addressing any complaints related to corruption and vigilance in the MPSC through the Meghalaya Lokayukta Act 2014, and some other smaller measures. As I said, this will be publicized and shared with the public at large, so you can always go through it. Apart from that, we should have computer-based tests. Number 2 was the strengthening of the MPSC cells, whether it's in Jowai or in Tura. Combined competitive examinations, which means that examinations for the same qualification and the same scale could be combined together to avoid any kind of repetition and any delay. Discontinuation of the optional paper, which, as you are aware, we have already done last time for NCS exams, and we will be doing for the other exams also in the coming days. So these are the basic things that were mentioned by the committee. And in addition to this, the cabinet has suggested that we should also add that all the interviews, there should be CCTV and proper recording done during the interview process, and cameras should be there so that if there is any kind of question or any issue that arises, then those can be referred to. So this suggestion we have added as a cabinet, and as I said, this will be made public. I'll just show it to you. So this is the report that has come in, and we'll be making this public so that everybody can see. The subsuming of 708 permanent posts of Border Wings Home Guard into the State Disaster Response Force. This basically is being done because there was a court ruling many years back where the government was asked to include these 708 people who were appointed at that point in time as permanent employees. And once they become permanent employees, we are not entitled to the voluntary personnel funds which are given by Government of India when it comes to the part-time volunteers. And as you're aware, Government of India gives that for the Border Wing Home Guards. Now, the decision we took today was that we will transfer these posts because they're already permanent employees based on a High Court ruling. And they will become State Disaster Response Force as we're already paying for them. And the 708 post, which will then become vacant technically, where we are not receiving funds from Government of India because they are no longer volunteers, they are now permanent staff, will become vacant because we will shift them permanently to the State Disaster Response Force, which will then create a vacancy of 700 people for us to take as volunteers. And we will recruit 708 people because this fund is available through Government of India and we get money for this. And we will make necessary provisions based on what we learned in the court ruling, which led to the permanent absorption of 708 to ensure that in the future that situation does not happen again. So that's the third decision that we took. Fourth, that we had some amendments that were made in the service rules of the Fishery Department. A very small amendment was there, which is in relation to some promotions that are applicable. In most of the service rules, there is no age limit or there is no duration of service requirement for eligibility for promotions. But in Fisheries Department, for whatever reason, there was a particular clause that was not allowing people with less than 5 years of service left to be eligible for a promotion if the post is available. So you know the internal department promotions are there. So this clause was never there in other departments, and hence we have removed it from fisheries also, because we strongly feel that employees, after serving for many years, just because this 5 years requirement is not there, they are ineligible for promotion, which I strongly feel is unfair. So we have removed that clause to make it equal for all, and like in other departments now, in fisheries also, those who are eligible for promotion will not be denied that promotion because of this particular clause, which has now been removed. The decision we took was regarding the ad hoc appointments that were done in the past, post 31st December 2007. If you recall, based on a Supreme Court ruling, the people who were appointed on ad hoc basis before 2007, 31st December 2007, we had regularized them last term itself. About 3,000 plus people were regularized. Just to share with the public and with all of you, what does ad hoc mean? Basically, ad hoc means appointments which were made against sanctioned post, but were made without following proper procedure. That is what ad hoc is. A lot of people get confused that ad hoc means temporary post or master role or casual. Ad hoc is, as I said, appointments that were made without procedure being followed, but against a sanctioned post. So in the past, Supreme Court had given us direction that the government has the option to either conduct interviews and conduct examination and selection process for people before 2007, 31st December, or government can do a one-time regularization of those ad hoc appointments. And as a government, in the interest of the people working there, we decided to regularize those appointments. Now, after 2007, there were still ad hoc appointments that were made. And hence the question arose, what will the government do for those? Now, Supreme Court has not given us the liberty to go ahead and simply regularize those posts. Those individuals who are working in those posts. So therefore, the government has to go for a selection process. Now, just to share with all of you, if you don't regularize this post, then technically speaking, in the records of the government, these posts will always show as vacant, even though there is an ad hoc appointment against it, because the regular process of selection has not been done. And hence we have taken a decision that all vacancies will be filled. And hence these posts of ad hoc appointments made post 31st December 2007 have to be regularized by following a procedure of selection. And hence we will be going ahead and we will be conducting exams and interviews for these posts, which are roughly, as of now, about 1,500 of them. And an SOP has been made today, which has been passed by the cabinet. Now, the important part of the whole story is that these ad hoc appointments which were made, whatever the process not followed in the past or whatever steps they took at that point in time to appoint, we strongly feel as a cabinet that it would be unfair for us to not give them a chance to appear for those selection process and those exams. And hence, the decision we made today was, number one, to create an SOP, and in that SOP, number two, to have a provision to condone the age one time for those specific posts and individuals who are working as ad hoc employees in those sanctioned posts for the last 10, 15 years now. So therefore, we want to give the people working in those posts on ad hoc basis an opportunity to also appear for the test, because most of them are overage and they will not be able to give the exams, and hence they will not get the opportunity, fair opportunity to compete. And to avoid that and to give them that fair opportunity, we are giving a one-time age relaxation only for these posts that will be advertised.